Imagine this. You're sitting across from her. She's half your age, stunning, magnetic, everything you swore you'd stay away from, but couldn't. You've got life experience, stability, depth. She's got youth, beauty, chaos, and yet you're the one leaning in. You're the one adjusting your tone. You're the one trying to sound cooler, younger, less threatening, as if your wisdom is something to apologize for. You smile too easily. You explain too much. You think maybe if you just show how understanding you are, she'll see what a catch you are. But she doesn't. She sees the same thing she sees in every other man over 35 who's still stuck chasing approval. A man who doesn't know his own weight. Here's the hard truth. The moment you start proving your value, you've already told her you don't have any. And that's the trap most men over 35 fall into. They've done the work. They've suffered, earned, matured. But when it comes to women, they revert to the instincts of a 24-year-old. Perform, impress, chase. You start thinking your edge is a liability instead of a weapon. You downplay your power so she doesn't feel intimidated. You shrink yourself into something more palatable, as if you're the one auditioning. But here's what you've forgotten. At your age, the game is not about chasing women. It's about magnetizing them through self-possession. You don't need to compete with younger guys. You're playing a different game if you dare to. The women you truly want, emotionally intelligent, feminine, real, aren't looking for a boy with abs. They're looking for a man with centered gravity. But instead, what do they find? Men over 35 who are still afraid to offend, still texting like teenagers, still faking vibes to appear in touch. And it's repulsive, not because of age, but because of incongruence. Nothing turns a woman off faster than a man who doesn't stand on his own soul. So here's the warning. If you're over 35, stop doing this one thing. Stop trying to earn her attention. At your age, your life should already speak for itself. Your presence, not your pitch, should be what captivates her. But if you act like your time is worthless, if you act like you're just happy she gave you a chance, if you act like you need to impress her rather than vet her, then no matter your age, income, or wisdom, you've already made yourself smaller. And women, especially younger ones, can smell that energy in seconds. So now the question isn't, how do I talk to women at 35 plus? The question is far more dangerous. Why are you still trying to earn something that should be magnetically drawn to your masculine presence? And if you don't know the answer to that, it's not just your dating life at risk. It's your entire identity. They've crossed the threshold. The fire of youth has cooled into experience. The chaos of their 20s has settled. Somewhat. They've tasted betrayal, ambition, heartbreak, fatherhood, solitude. They've built careers, failed businesses, survived divorces, lost parents, buried brothers, swallowed grief. And yet, they're still asking for permission to exist, especially around women. They enter dates like interviews. They talk about themselves like salesmen. They flirt like teenagers on their best behavior. And when the woman doesn't text back, they spiral into confusion, frustration, even self-blame. Why? Because no one told them the truth. A man can grow older without growing deeper. And that's exactly what most have done. You've gathered years, but not gravity. You've added titles, but not presence. You've built a life, but not a masculine core she can feel in her body. And without that, it doesn't matter if you're 25 or 55. You will be treated like a boy. Let's go deeper. Why do men over 35 still chase approval from women? Because they were conditioned from birth to believe that female attention is the proof of male worth. The first time you felt seen was likely through the eyes of a woman. Maybe it was your mother's praise, maybe a crush in high school, maybe your first girlfriend. And when that attention came, it felt like life. So you started chasing it. Not sex, not connection, but that feeling of being validated by the feminine gaze. And now, decades later, you're still doing it. But you've disguised it as charm, as game, as just being nice. And here's where it gets dangerous. The older you get, the better you get at lying to yourself about it. You tell yourself you're just looking for something real. But the moment she pulls away, you panic. Why? Because you're not seeking a woman. You're seeking relief from your own emotional uncertainty. And that's the psychological root. You've outsourced your masculine validation to the feminine. You're still asking a woman to tell you who you are. And that's why it's not working. Because she can't. She won't. Not because she doesn't care, but because it's not her job to define your worth. It's yours. Carl Jung said it best. The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. But that process demands that you let go of everything that made you likable, accessible, or safe in your youth. It requires becoming something darker, heavier, sovereign. And sovereignty, brother, does not negotiate. It does not chase. It does not explain. It does not dilute itself to be more palatable for someone who hasn't earned his truth. The man over 35 must stop playing the boy's game. You're no longer here to impress. You're here to witness, to test, to choose, to speak less but with more conviction. To make your life so deep, so ordered, so damn powerful that she feels your presence before you even speak. Because that's what the feminine craves in a man your age. Not trendiness, not cleverness, not emotional gymnastics, but rootedness. She wants to feel that if her entire world fell apart tomorrow, you'd still wake up before sunrise and handle your business like a goddamn force of nature. But how can she feel that if you're still texting her like your self-worth hangs on her reply? The deeper philosophical tragedy is this. When an older man sacrifices his grounded masculine frame to chase female attention, he loses not only the woman, he loses himself. He becomes what Nietzsche called the last man, a being more obsessed with comfort and validation than with becoming. He stops climbing, stops wrestling with God, stops forging himself in silence, and he becomes a shell, comfortable, agreeable, and utterly forgettable. That's the hidden cost of chasing women at 35, plus the same way you did at 23. You slowly kill the man you were meant to become. And for what? A woman who doesn't respect you because you don't respect your own time. So here's the truth, Schopenhauer, Jung, and every real philosopher would whisper in your ear right now. Your problem isn't that you're over 35. It's that you're still talking, thinking, and acting like a man who hasn't realized his age is his greatest weapon. Section 5, the final realization and outro, the death of the chaser, 600 to 800 words. Here's the truth spoken clearly. You're not too old. You're too unconvinced of your own weight. The world doesn't care if you're 35, 45, or 55. It doesn't care about your job title, your gym routine, or your curated persona. What it cares about, what she feels in her bones, is this. Are you rooted in who you are? Or are you still hoping to be chosen? Because if you're still chasing, still proving, still performing, you've already lost her respect, even if you win her attention. Let me make this brutal and simple. A man over 35 who still chases women is no longer seductive. He's sad. He's a man who's abandoned his kingdom to beg at the gates of hers. And she knows it. You want her to admire you? Then stop orbiting around her. Stop texting first, second, and third. Stop shrinking your gravity to make her feel taller. Stand in your power. Speak like your words are edged in stone. Walk like your time is finite and your presence is sacred. Because that's what you are now. Sacred. Every scar, every lesson, every heartbreak, you paid for it with blood. You didn't survive this long to become more agreeable. You survived to become unbreakable. So here's the final command. Stop talking like a man who hopes to be liked. Start talking like a man who's already whole. The ones who matter will feel it, and the ones who don't, they were never meant to stand beside you. If this message struck you, if it pulled a truth out of you that's been buried under years of trying to please, impress, and be enough, drop a comment below with the words, "I've stopped chasing." Let the world know your rebirth started here. And if you're ready to build not just a better dating life, but a disciplined, masculine, sovereign existence, hit subscribe, turn on notifications, and join the men who are done playing small. Because being over 35 isn't the end. It's when the game actually begins. And now you're playing to own the board.